Good morning, everyone. My name is Santi Karasamy, and I'm the founder of Project Recess. And I am delighted to be here partnering with Google to go over this workshop that explores a brand new feature in Google Classroom called Practice Sets. So let's get started. So today, we're going to explore an overview of practice sets, what they are, why they were created, how they can support you in your classroom, how to create your own practice sets within Google Classroom, how grading and assessment work within practice sets, how you can view the practice set as a student. That's an awesome feature. Gaining class insights as to how students are interacting with your practice sets. And lastly, how we can share these practice sets as a template with other teachers in your school. So let's start with an overview of practice sets. There's a short video made by Google that demonstrates the features and the functions. So we're going to take 2 minutes and we'll take a look at that video together.
Learning is personal. Students stay more engaged and learn more effectively when they get feedback right away. But one-on-one help for each student isn't always possible with the learning tools that exist today. For educators, having a round-the-clock tutor for each student that could help them grade classwork and give insights into student comprehension would be ideal. That's why we're creating a new tool in Google Classroom called Practice Sets, which enables educators to create interactive assignments from their existing content or from scratch. Students can get help as they answer questions, and teachers can get automated insights to know where students are getting stuck. Let's take a look at how it works. Once teachers create practice sets using existing content or by writing their own questions, our adaptive learning technology identifies the relevant learning skills for each question and finds relevant hints and resources that will be available for students if they need help. With all the typical question types like multiple choice and short answer, practice sets also have a built-in math keyboard and use our adaptive learning technology to enable equivalent answers for robust auto-grading. Teachers assign practice sets in Google Classroom like any other assignment. Students open practice sets right from an assignment in Google Classroom. As they work, auto-grading lets them know right away if their solution is correct, which helps build confidence, keeps them engaged, and prevents one misunderstanding from impacting the entire set. If they don't get a question on the first try, built-in hints help them along. When a student is unsure of where to start, they can open a resources section, which provides recommended videos and concept cards for each learning skill. Additional features include designated space to show their work, allowing them to demonstrate understanding while giving their teacher visibility into their thinking. For assignments created with practice sets, you will have enhanced features in the Classroom Grader view. Teachers get a quick view of class performance and can see student work for every attempt they make per problem. Automated insights reveal class-wide trends, so teachers gain visibility and can adjust their teaching plan if many students struggle with the same question or concept. With practice sets, students get the help they need faster, and teachers get actionable insights about their class. We understand that no two learning journeys are the same, so we're building tools that work for you.
So that was pretty exciting stuff. Everything that we saw in that video, we're gonna go over a little bit more in depth during this session. So the video touched on some of these things, but with practice sets, you can create content for virtually any subject that you teach, be it math, language arts, music. These tools, like many Google tools, are made to be flexible and made to be used, again, with any content area that you're working with. They can support any grade level, because it's really up to you as a teacher to design these practice sets in a way that supports the students that you work with. It supports differentiating instruction, creating a flexible strategy, and you can also use this to support blended learning. So this explores an overview of how practice sets works. As you can see, a teacher creates a practice set, you assign it to a student, the student completes it, and then as an educator, you can review the work. So we can dive in and we'll see how that works in action. So we can take a moment right now to see how this works in action. So let's get started. So first you have to decide how you want to create your practice set. There are different ways. So this is an interface that we're all familiar with here, Google Classroom. But you'll notice that there has been an update to this page. You'll see that it says practice sets in this area right over here. If I click on it, it'll take us to the practice sets dashboard where we can create a new practice set. You can actually get to this place two other ways. So if I click on these three lines here, lovingly known as the hamburger, so I click on the hamburger, you'll see that it says practice sets. And so you can get to there from your Google Classroom homepage. Click on the hamburger, you can go to practice sets. And then the third way is accessing this page directly from classwork, creating an assignment, and you'll see down here an option to create a practice set also. So all of those ways essentially bring you back to the same area where you can create a practice set. So I'm just gonna X out of this and get back to my classes, and then we can begin here. Since this is the easiest way to create a practice set, since there's a link conveniently located on this Google Classroom dashboard. So I'll click on practice sets, and I can go ahead and click on create. Here I can see the interface of what practice sets looks like. If I switch back over to my slide, this goes over the different elements of practice sets of the homepage when you are creating a brand new one. So the first thing that I want to do is I want to rename this practice set. So I can go ahead and click on this and delete it and give it a name. So I can say, if I want to focus on, let's say, math for this particular example, I'll say math. I say example number 1. And if you are familiar with using Google Forms, then you're in luck, because a lot of the elements from creating a Google form carry over into creating a practice set, as you'll see as I go through creating this. So the first thing I'm going to do is type my math question out. I'm going to keep it simple. I know it's early. I don't expect everyone to do some difficult math this early in the morning, but yeah, I'll keep it simple. So I'll say 49 plus 50, keeping it extremely simple here, equals. So as I mentioned before, this is very similar to how Google Forms works. If I click this drop-down menu, you can see the different types of answers that you can choose. So you have short answer, paragraph, single select, and multi-select. And you'll see the word auto next to some of the answers, meaning if you select one of these, there's an option for you to include the correct answer, and this can automatically grade this practice set for your students. Very similar to how a quiz works when you create it in Google Forms. So if I go ahead and I select short answer, I can type the possible answers in this box right over here. So 49 plus 50, the answer is going to be 99. So if I hit enter, it also gives me an option to add another version of the correct answer. So if a student types in 99, that will be accepted. If a student chooses to type out the word 99, that can be accepted as well. So keep that in mind when you are choosing the correct answer for your practice set. So that's short answer. If I click this drop down and I select single select, so this is another way of saying multiple choice question. So again, I can do something similar and add the possible answers here. So I'll say 97, 98, and 99. All right, so then I can go ahead and choose what the correct answer is here. What's also interesting is that there's something down here called skills. So if I click down here, and as you can see, it happened really fast, but it had a suggested skill. So artificial intelligence, AI, is very popular in the news right now. Practice Sets uses AI, and it looks over your question and it suggests skills that you can that match what you are typing into the practice set. So right here, it says adding whole numbers. That's what we're doing. If you see other skills that you think go in line with this particular practice set, you can go ahead and select that also, but I'm going to click add whole numbers. And so what's nice is that this problem or this practice set now has hints and resources for students that are automatically added. So what does that look like? So I have my question here, I have my correct answer. Something that I really love about practice sets is that you can see what a student sees when you click on try as a student. So if I click on this button right here, try as a student, it opens up a new tab, and now this is what my student will see when they are taking my practice set. This is a really great feature. So I see the question here. I see the light bulb over here. Let's say I didn't know what the answer was and I wanted some support. I can click on this to show a hint. And when I click on this, as you can see, it pulls up this resource. I'm going to move my Brady Bunch.
So today we'll learn how to add a whole number to a fraction. So I have 3 plus 3 over.
Okay, so what this is, it's pulling up this particular YouTube video, Math-O-Magic, and this video is going to explore how to add, two numbers that are very similar to the problem that I have in my practice set right over here. So this video, how did this video get here? All of these resources have been heavily vetted by the Google for Education team, by other educators, and these videos are associated with the skills that are related to your practice set. So all of this, again, uses AI, a combination of AI, a combination of Googlers and teachers actually curating these specific resources to support your students in answering this practice set. So the more complex your practice set is, you can tag different skills and the students can receive these different hints, which is pretty cool. So let's say I'm a student, I watch this, I can close that, I can go ahead and I can choose the correct answer. So let's say I choose this answer here, and then I hit check. So it says it's incorrect, all right? And then again, it gives me this show a hint button right over here. What's also nice is that as a student, I can show my work down here. So if I click on show your work, it's going to give me this area down here where I can attempt to solve this problem. So 49 plus 50. So if I wanted to, I can type out some information here, or if my Chromebook has a touch screen, I can click on this inking tool. Even if my Chromebook does not have a touch screen, or my laptop does not have a touch screen, I can still use a trackpad. Let's say I wanted to write out this problem. So 50 plus 49 . So I can go ahead and do this right here. And then I know that the answer is 99. This is me showing my work. So I can go ahead and choose the correct answer. I'll hit check. And it says that it's correct. So I'm going to go ahead and move my Brady Bunch circle back down here. And then you get some fun confetti. All right, so that is the student experience of doing this practice set. Again, this is really great that you can view this as a student. So let's say my practice set is only one question. Like, that's fine. I can hit done editing. So once I have this practice set, how do I actually send this to students? Well, you do that through Google Classroom assignments. And I can go ahead and click this back button. I see that my practice set is there already. I can go ahead and click on the hamburger. I can go to my classes. I'll go ahead and click on the class that I want to add this practice set to. I'm going to go to classwork. I'm going to create a brand new assignment. and I'll call this one addition practice. All right, you can give instructions if you want. And then as I mentioned, there's a button down here that allows you to add this practice set to your Google Classroom assignment. So I'm gonna go ahead, I'm gonna click on that. It shows me what it looks like. Yes, this looks good. If I want to edit it, I can, but right now I want to attach this practice set. So there it is. And then I can go ahead and I can assign it. And you still have the same options as assigning a typical assignment in Google Classroom, meaning if I click this drop down, I can choose to schedule it for a later date, a later time. I can save it as a draft, or I can discard the draft. I have options here if I want to add a due date, a topic, points. In terms of differentiation, I can choose to select this to all students or specific ones. In this class, I only have one student, so this is going to go to all students. You can add a rubric if you want. And since we have the teaching and learning version of Google Workspace, we have unlimited use of the originality reports if you wanted to use that. So I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to hit assign. And that's it. I've just assigned this to my student. So now what does this look like on the student side? So if I go back, I'm going to go to this window where I'm logged in as a student. I can go here and I can see that I was assigned this assignment that has the practice set. So I can go ahead, I can click on it, and I can go ahead and I can answer this question. So all the things I did before I can do again, as in I can click on show your work, and I can try to write this out if I wanted to, right? I can go ahead and I can click on this inking tool, and I can say 50 plus 49 . All right, so the 9 is here, and add 4 and 5, that also is a 9. Hopefully your handwriting is better than mine, but the teacher should be able to read this. I'm going to say the answer is 99. If I wanted to, I could click on show a hint, and as we saw before, I could watch a YouTube video that explains this particular math concept or whatever concept is related to your practice set. But I chose my answer. I'm going to hit check. And I had some positive feedback right over here, some confetti and something that said yes. So now, again, this is the student side. This is the actual student view. I'm logged in as a student in this window. So if I switch out back to my teacher view and I go back to my practice set, I can go ahead and I can review the work. So here it gives me some information regarding how that student did. There's some insights, and it shows me a green check. Now I'm going to switch back to my slide deck because it gives you a more detailed view on how assessment works with this. So here are the various insights. I'm going to zoom in a little bit here. So you have here the number of problems answered correctly versus incorrectly in this particular area. This is cool. This displays the number of attempts the student took to answer that problem. So in this case, this student had one attempt, but it'll show the multiple attempts. You have a holistic view of class performance to provide an overview of the class strengths and areas. So this says many students got number 1 and 3 incorrect. So you can go back and sort of explore the lessons behind those particular questions. And it even gives you the names of the students that are struggling with that particular question or multiple questions. And here the number of attempts will be indicated in this green circle. So if we zoom into this area, you can see that many students got question 1 incorrect in this particular practice set. So as a teacher, you'd want to focus on reinforcing that particular question. But for question 4, most students got it right. So it's super helpful to receive these particular insights with your practice sets. So that's how you create a practice set. I do want to call attention to the math functions and formulas that you have access to in practice sets. So you'll see in this demonstration here, it says insert math formula, and you have all of these different options to create fractions and add different formulas on here. So if you're a math teacher, you've had sort of difficulty doing this, let's say in a Google form, this is much easier since you have access to these formulas now. And as you can see, again, it uses AI to look at your math formula and it'll suggest specific skills. So that's pretty neat. So let's go ahead and move on to the next slide. So you can also create questions from an existing PDF, and this is pretty interesting. So how does this work? So if I go back to my Google Classroom here, and let's say I wanted to edit my practice set. So how would that work? So I'll go to my practice sets, and let's say I wanted to add a question to this particular practice set that I was using. So I can go ahead, I'll click edit. So here you can add a new question, but you can also import, and this is where you can bring in a PDF. So I have some different worksheets here. I'm going to click on this math worksheet. I'm going to hit import. And this is an interesting feature. So it says here, select each problem that you want to import, and it gives you an animated GIF of highlighting something. So what you can do is you essentially are taking a screenshot within this PDF. So let's say I wanted to include this particular math problem in here. I can go ahead and click and drag. So I have this box. I can do that with this other, I can do it with any of these other questions. So I'm going to highlight these. I'm going to highlight this one also, or select this. And then I'm going to go ahead, I'm going to click import questions. Now when I do that, it takes that image and it actually puts it into the question here. And again, it uses AI to look at your question, and it's already suggesting a skill. So let's see what that suggests. So if I click on that, I don't know if that's accurate. Sometimes it works, sometimes it doesn't. So I can start typing something in. It'll say add multi-digit numbers using a number line. That looks like that works. And so again, I can type in my answer here if I wanted to use some so if I wanted to use specific math formatting, I can go ahead and use them here. But for this particular question, I'm just using regular math. So the answer to this, I'll save everybody some time, 8,411. Definitely use a calculator on my watch to find this answer. And so I can add that. Again, I can add possible correct answers. I can add the comma in there. All right. And then I can go ahead and do the same thing for these other questions down here. $29.99 plus $20.62. So for this one, I can change up the particular question style again. Let's say I want single select. So the correct answer is 5061, and you can add other possible answers here. And let's see what the suggested skills are here. Add multi-digit numbers. That works. And then lastly, I can do the same thing here. So the answer to this is 21,272. And again, I can do the same thing with or without the comma. And so there you go. Yeah, I can hit try as a student again, and then we can see how this looks using images, questions that we got from a PDF. And so again, I can choose to show my work if I click this button. And I click this tool right over here, the inking tool. So I can write it down here. So there's my answer, and I can go ahead and I can check that. So 17, 4, 11. And what's interesting is that as I'm typing this out, it's reading right over here what my numbers are. In my terrible handwriting, it still understood what that was. So I can go ahead and I can hit check. Oh, and it's not correct. So I added this wrong. This is really 8,411. Yeah, it's too early for math. So if I go ahead and I try this one more time, I can go ahead and I can click this eraser. Or if I wanted to, I can click on this hint. And we can see this hint one more time.
Hi, this is Mrs. T from PS11. Today I'm going to show you how to solve a 3-digit plus 3-digit addition. 100.
Okay, so I got that wrong. I watched that video. Now I have a better understanding of how to add this. So I'm going to go ahead, I'm going to erase this. I'm going to click on the eraser. I can erase. I can erase these here. And now I can try it again. So what did we say it was? 8411. So it recognized my writing. I hit check. And it shows that it's correct. If I wanted to, I can click on extra help. And I have even more resources here that are related to the skills of this particular practice set. So these are math examples. I just demonstrated how you get that from a PDF. I demonstrated how this can automatically grade your practice sets. And again, I showed how you can enable equivalent answers, so different versions of the correct answer on there. We went over how we can add different skills to the practice set, which allows that light bulb to show up to give your students hints, resources in real time where they can watch these videos, watch these different scaffolds to help them solve your practice sets correctly. You can use a math and science keyboard for numerical problems. And we experienced this really cool feature of how to test out these practice sets as a student. You can also rearrange different practice sets, as you can see here. You can click on those little dots at the top of your practice set question, and you can drag them, just like how you can drag a question within Google Forms. So this is interesting. You can also send and receive a practice set to different teachers within your school. So let's say I was really happy with this practice set that I created and I wanted to share this with a teacher. I can go ahead and click on share. I can enable link sharing. And then what I can do is I can copy that link, open up a new tab, and I paste that link. And let's say I was another teacher within my school. It loads the practice set, and I can go ahead and I can make a copy. And then I can go ahead and once I make a copy, I can edit this, add my own questions, and modify this to fit the needs of my students, of my specific classroom. So I just showed you how to receive a practice set. You can just share that link with somebody via email. And I went over how to assign a practice set. So this is what the student sees when they receive a practice set. This light bulb turns yellow, and this light bulb indicates that there's a resource that can be shared with the student that they can watch to help them answer this particular question. This extra help button will provide even more resources, even more videos that are related to that particular skill that you've tagged. This inking tool is really great. So if you have a computer that has a touch screen, you can go ahead and write your responses on there. Again, this is really helpful if you're assigning math problems. And you have this show your work area where you can give your teacher a little bit more context and you have this show your work area that gives your teacher a little more context as to how you answered that question. So when you're grading this in Google Classroom, you can go ahead and click on specific students and it'll bring up their particular practice set, and you can see what questions they answered. So again, you can go ahead and click on the practice set, click on Class Insights, and this is for all students, but you can click on specific students and then you can see how they did. So using this information, you could provide tailored instruction to your students because you know what specific questions they're struggling with. And as always, Google does a really great job taking feedback, improving their products with their feedback. So if you use practice sets, if you use any of the Google tools and you want to provide feedback, there's a question mark icon located on virtually every page. So if I switch here, there's a question mark. Please feel free to submit feedback. You can click on report an issue for practice sets, and then you can go ahead and give feedback. Again, the Google team does a really great job taking that feedback seriously and improving on what we as educators, what we as users share with them. So this brings us to the end of our session. Thank you for spending your time with us. I hope you learned something from here. I hope you go ahead and explore practice sets and use this with your students. There will be more opportunities to learn how this works. I'm going to be sure to plan more professional learning sessions to dive deeper into these features and other features within Google Workspace. So stay tuned for that. Thank you very much again, and have a good rest of the day. Bye now.